All right, the champ is here, loved by many, hated by few, respected by all, second to none. That's right. You know, we have the best radio show from Como to the Congo, and now you know. You know, today I was talking to some folks earlier about what did they eat. You know, I'm getting ready to leave here and go and get me some, probably Thibodeau's or something like that. That's where I normally go when I leave the commercial radio show on Saturdays. But today is Thursday. Well, we just finished the TED Talk the previous week. We had Dallas in the Lit 2023. I know you missed me, but I told you I'd be back. I couldn't wait for Saturday, so I'm here on Thursday talking about hunger. Just like I said earlier, hunger. 1 in 4 children in North Texas doesn't always have enough food to eat. That's called food insecurity. Food insecurity. And what we are here today to talk about is food insecurity in North Texas with the Tarrant Area Food Bank. And I have one of the executives from Tarrant Area Food Bank here with me today, Dr. Jared Williams. How you doing, man?
Hey, Commish, how's it going, man?
I'm doing all right, man. Good to see you, man.
Sir.
Good to see you.
Always
good to
be on the show, man.
You know,
Thank
hey, this is your first time over here at this studio.
Yeah,
man.
last time we talked, let's see here, we were at the ballpark, man.
At the ballpark.
A couple years ago, man.
We just rolling around, and this is rolling around the Metroplex, but this isn't the first time the Tarrant Area Food Bank has been on the show.
Yeah.
And I'd like to thank the Tarrant Area Food Bank for coming back and asking us to come, for you guys to come and share the studio with us, man.
Absolutely.
I want to talk to you about some other things, but the last time we spoke, you was running for office. And,
yes, sir.
And did you get it?
I got it.
Okay, you got by one vote, right?
292.
Oh, you counted them, though. You counted them, though.
Give or take. And then I got it a second time, so I've ran twice.
Oh, you just bragging on me, ain't you? Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. So this is your day job.
That's my day job.
You have that job at night and this job at Tarrant Area Food Bank. I'm going to lose seconds of precious time. What do you guys call it over there?
TAFB.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay, got it. So what do you do there?
I'm the Vice President of Advocacy there, so I serve on the executive leadership team, and I work with communities to help lift up important issues to elected officials and public servants to help generate the kinds of solutions we need through policy that address and alleviate hunger in our 13-county service area.
Now, 13 counties. Mm-hmm. Now, this is I told you it wasn't going to be any math involved in this, but I asked the last person that came here, what other counties?
Oh, you're going to make me list
them that's
all.
How I am.
Oh, let's do it.
That's like pledging a fraternity or something like that.
Absolutely.
You have to do that.
I think I could do that.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see.
Okay, it's no hazing involved.
We're gonna no.
Okay, no hazing. All right.
I'm a part of a non-hazing organization.
So am I.
Good.
There is no hazing.
Yeah. Let's see here. We'll start with the north. Most folks don't know that we serve all the way up into the Oklahoma border. And so we serve Cook and Wise counties, Denton County, Tarrant County. We also serve Parker County, Palapino County, Somerville, Bosque, Erath, Hill, Johnson, and I know I'm missing maybe one more.
That's good enough.
Yeah, that might have been 13.
That's good. That 413,000 people are involved in hunger issues.
Yeah. Hamilton, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, my neighbors in Hamilton. I love y'all.
I checked how you look directly at the camera when you said that. Yeah. 413,000 kids are on free and reduced lunches and breakfast plans.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for school, let's talk directly into the mic, if it wasn't for school, some of them wouldn't eat.
That's right.
So during the summertime, a lot of people just generally speaking don't eat.
Yeah, it's summer hunger. Yeah, summer hunger is one of the most difficult times, not only for children but for families. Like you said, breakfast and lunch is an important meal for students during the school year because it's provided through the schools. But when they're out of school, that bill typically falls on the household, right? And so oftentimes what happens is there's not enough dollar to stretch through the month. And so oftentimes families make the tough decision, the very hard decision to skip meals, and that sometimes includes their children. And so that's why during the summer, the Tarrant Area Food Bank, kicks it into overdrive to ensure that no kid goes hungry during the summer. And so thanks to the amazing work of our team and also all of our community partners, we rally every summer to make sure that we're there when our families are in need.
So first of the month is real in a lot of ways.
It's very real. And even more so after COVID. I mean, you look at inflation combined with the loss of COVID-era benefits from the federal government. We could just look at SNAP, for example. There was an emergency allotment that provided families during COVID an additional $95 per individual and $219 per family. That benefit ended last spring. And so for families who are participating in such critical and important programs vital to ending hunger, we reached a hunger cliff with food inflation at an all-time high, rent skyrocketing due to housing shortages here, as well as gas prices and folks needing a reliable car and gas in the tank to get to their jobs to at least put some food on the table when they can. And so this summer especially was relatively difficult for families, but I'm so proud of the work that our community did and the Tarrant Area Food Bank to step in and to help as many families as we did.
Now you used I'm proud of it as well. You used a term, hunger cliff. Describe the hunger cliff. What is a hunger cliff?
Absolutely. So hunger cliff and benefits cliff is really specifically what we're talking, but SNAP benefits is a powerful tool that is funded by the federal government. And when those benefits, those emergency allotment benefits dropped off, there was a gap in the food budget at home, which meant that many families' budget went over the cliff when it comes to grocery bill, right? And so it was hard to feel that. I mean, $220 is a lot of money per month. And when those benefits ended, families had to, really get creative about their budgets and how do they make ends meet with a $220 gap. I mean, I have a newborn, an 8-month-old, and sometimes $220 hits me as well, right?
So you have, as my grandmother would say, a good job, a steady job, a good job. And with the newborn there, you've noticed the amount of money you spend on food is increased.
Absolutely, and she's an 8-month-old, so now she's eating solid food. So,
right.
And she has a Williams appetite.
Right.
And so, growing up, that was my story as well. I was in a meeting earlier today, and I shared my story that, September is Hunger Action Month, HAM for short, and HAM gave me flashbacks back to my favorite meal growing up, which was fried bologna and syrup. And back then I thought it was a delicacy. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I would, choose that right now as my number one favorite. But it was what my parents had and what they were able to provide. And so when I look at my household budget for month to month with my wife staying home with the newborn because of the cost of childcare, right? We're a one-income household, and $220 for most average North Texans like myself. That's a really big deal. And so, like I said, this summer, was a really tough summer for a lot of families who relied on those benefits, and even those that didn't participate in the SNAP program, it was equally as tough.
Now, where do you get the food that you give? You said you give it out.
Yeah.
TAFB gives the food out.
Absolutely.
Explain to me the process.
Absolutely. So Tarrant Area Food Bank, we specialize in distribution, logistics, and sourcing of food. And so we have a sourcing team at the food bank that spends countless hours every day identifying new ways to bring new food into our food bank. And so we not only rely on the federal government through federal programs like the Emergency Food Assistance Program, which provides fresh produce from farmers, through the USDA, also CSFP, which is the Commodity Supplemental Food Program, that provides shelf-stable items that are nutritional, and they're
like what?
And they're all canned pantry stable foods for seniors. So things like canned green beans, canned pineapples, peas and carrots, rice. things that our seniors need in their pantry that balances out their diet. So we have a number of programs through the federal government that provide commodities to food banks all across our network, which is called the Feeding America Network. We not only partner with federal organizations like USDA, we also partner with state organizations like the Texas Department of Agriculture. We get fresh produce from Texas farmers through programs like the Surplus Agriculture Grant.
How often do those the fruit and vegetables arrive? How often?
Daily, truckloads, by the truckloads. So, government partnerships are absolutely important for food banks. Equally as important is we have partnerships with almost every major grocery retailer you can think of in North Texas, as well as we partner with almost every major food manufacturer here in North Texas. And so we source food from grocery stores, from manufacturers, from farmers, in partnership with USDA and TDA. And we're able to create a balanced meal that then we distribute. We get things in quantities that folks couldn't imagine, like a truckload of green apples, 18-wheeler, right? Like
a truckload of green apples.
Yeah, multiple times a day, right? We have some of the most beautiful green apples and watermelons right now in the distribution center. I do a walkthrough almost every day, and we have so much variety of produce. Our goal really is not just about providing food when people need it, but also providing food that helps lead to positive health outcomes for them. And so we've really been focused on taking our food bank from a couple years ago, distributing 20% of our food as produce, to now working towards 50% of our food being fresh produce. So all this food comes into our food bank. We couldn't get it out by ourselves.
Now, the logistics portion of it, when I retired from corporate America, I was a logistics manager. Since they're not paying for the show, and the Tarrant Area Food Bank is our sponsors today, I'm not even going to mention who they are. But this deal here is, how do you get all of these trucks out for those 13 counties?
Yeah, so we have a fleet of 18-wheelers and box trucks. We also partner with over 500 partner agencies across our 13 counties, from churches to schools to community centers. And we partner with them to set up on-site pantries, hubs, right? They can order online from our online ordering system. We fulfill their order through our distribution center, and either we deliver it to them or they come and pick it up. And then they stock their shelves and serve directly to the neighbors in the neighborhood and communities that they serve. And so, needless to say, the Tarrant Area Food Bank can't do it by ourselves. We rely not only on our community organizations, but also on being able to source food from multiple different sources to meet the need. Each year, we distribute about 50 million meals. That's more than 50 million pounds of food each year. And all of that food is really focused on meeting the level of need all across our service area.
Well, I'm very happy that I'm taking copious notes, as you see, and the people at home realize that as well. You're moving to 50% food is vegetables, fresh food and vegetables.
Right. That's our goal.
That's the goal.
Yeah, and recently we announced a few months ago that we are initiating a new venture as a food bank. We're establishing a regional produce hub, or what we call the Sid W. Richardson Foundation Agriculture Hub. And this hub was funded and supported not only by generous donors like the Sid Richardson Foundation, but also the Tarrant County Commissioner Brooks and the Tarrant County Commissioner's Court were very vocal about the importance of this hub. We also received support from the City of Fort Worth. The City Council approved funds as well to support this, as well as the Texas Department of Agriculture. And so now we have a regional produce packing facility that's going to be able to take truckloads of produce every day, take straight loads or a single load of any type of product, bring it into this mixing center, and mix it up into mixed bags of produce for individuals and families, and then we'll ship that out to our partner agencies. And so this is going to dramatically transform the way food banking is done. Not only will it provide fresh produce for our service area, but as we scale this operation up, we'll be able to fill the gap for other food banks across the state and across the region. In Oklahoma, they have a beef packing hub, and in Louisiana at the food bank there, they have, or Arkansas, excuse me, they have a chicken packing plant. And so we're able to, take our surplus commodities and be able to fill gaps that they have, and then vice versa, they'll be able to do the same thing. Yeah.
So you bought
not quite barter.
Say I trade you some apples for some chicken.
Yeah, even if they don't have some chickens, we give them some apples.
Okay, that's what we're doing. All right.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will continue the interview. I'm getting tongue-tied. We will continue the interview with the Tarrant Area Food Bank. All right. And Jared Williams.
When's the last time someone's called you a hunger hero? Because you could be, and you don't even have to wear a cape.
This is Dr. Jared Williams, Vice President of Advocacy at the Tarrant Area Food Bank. The Tarrant Area Food Bank is looking for hunger heroes, and it's so easy to make a difference in our community.
Right now, Congress is making decisions that will affect our neighbors facing hunger. So now is the perfect time to get involved. Join us in telling Congress to prioritize programs that end hunger and help food banks source Texas-grown foods.
Learn more now at tafb.org. That's tafb.org.
Who was that masked man? You mean you don't know? That was no masked man. That was the commish. Saturdays from 5 to 6 p.m. on the Fishbowl Radio Network. Hey, whenever I want good Cajun food, I go to Thibodeau's, located at 107 North Cedar Ridge in Duncanville, Texas. They're really hot, just like the Commish Radio Show in Thibodeau's. Hot as this gumbo. We will see you later at Thibodeau's.
What's up, beautiful peoples out there? It's your boy Mar, a.k.a. Cool Pop Watson, baby. Make sure you check my man out 3 to 5 every Saturday. Commish Radio Show. Make sure y'all come check my man out.
All right. You heard that Thibodeau's drop, and that's, we were talking about during the break whether or not we were going to Thibodeau's, and, they have good food over there, But, when we talk about curing hunger, we talk about going to Thibodeau's, or we talk about going to some other restaurant, but there are some people who live in food deserts who can't go. But just as importantly, I want to ask you this question, Dr. Williams.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Jared Williams. Got to give you that whole title. Will we ever end hunger?
So I am very, very hopeful that in our country, that it's not a matter of whether or not we have enough food as a country. It's about how do we logistically get food.
Hold on. You got feedback.
It's about how do we get food where it's needed, and that's a logistical question. And so knowing that, I absolutely think it's achievable to end hunger. And what we mean by ending hunger is creating systems in place where no one has to skip a meal, right? And so that's about a number of things. Yes, it's about ensuring that we have a food bank system that has the food supply that's needed where it's needed. But it's also about ensuring that the food bank, leverages the partnerships that we have with retail to create innovative solutions to address things like access to retail grocery stores. We've done a lot of work as a food bank, especially here recently in partnership with Kroger, to do just that in a couple communities, in a program first of its kind called Boost by a Kroger partnership with Tarrant Area Food Bank. This allows us to create an opportunity in a couple communities, City of Forest Hills, City of Everman, City of Mansfield, as well as the historic Southside neighborhood in the City of Fort Worth, in partnership with Tarrant County, by which anyone who's eligible for SNAP living in those communities, which are all low access, meaning that they're more than a mile away from a grocery store, it will allow them to not only benefit from SNAP enrollment application assistance, but it'll also provide them with 1 year free membership for Boost by Kroger, which is free home delivery for their groceries when they purchase groceries above $30. And so this is one.
And that's what you guys are doing, free home delivery.
Yep. And
now these are my notes. I'm taking notes like this like crazy. So forgive me for turning my back to you. I moved it over here so I could take notes and look at you at the same time because I was just so totally engrossed with that. How did you guys get that done with Kroger?
Absolutely. So the mayors of those cities, as well as Commissioner Brooks in Tarrant County, reached out to the food bank knowing that, we are really focused on ending hunger strategies, and they brought a challenge to us that their residents are facing. I mean, that is having low access to grocery stores, and they're like, Tarrant Area Food Bank, what can we do about this?
So you're dealing with two items, and this is one of the things I've dealt with in my research. You're dealing with food insecurity, and you're also dealing with transportation insecurity as well, because a lot of people don't have transportation to get to the grocery store, which is miles and miles away, and the only thing they have is convenience stores that don't have any fresh food.
Absolutely, and that was the whole gist of the conversation that we had with leaders in those cities and communities. And so we told them we don't have the solution, but we can convene folks together and figure this out. So we called up Kroger and we put our minds together, and home delivery is something that many retail stores have invested quite a bit of resources into. The challenge with this particular program was folks who have low access to grocery stores sometimes also have low access to income. And so we had to thread a needle of how do we provide high quality groceries for retail while also being mindful of the most vulnerable in the communities that we are serving. And so Kroger went to work with the Tarrant Area Food Bank to really look at how do we address that issue. One of the challenges to addressing this issue for online ordering especially was SNAP benefits have not been allowed to be utilized for online delivery platforms like a Kroger grocery store website. And
so it's allowed now?
It is, thanks to our work together. And so we were able to work with USDA and our federal partners to allow for that opportunity to happen. And so this is all, first of its kind. So as of last spring, Kroger was, and every retailer across the country was allowed to be able to provide EBT purchases on their online shopping stores. That was a huge game changer because then it allowed us to improve access in a very real way. This allows for us not only to provide access to online grocery store through Kroger, but it also allows for variety that you wouldn't get in a brick and mortar store. In some of these communities, because of the profit margins right now, especially post-COVID, are so razor thin that the cost to invest in a brick and mortar initially would not return itself for them to keep their doors open. Okay. And so this allows for folks to shop not only online, but to be able to have access to the full inventory of Kroger, because the food is not only coming from maybe a local grocery store, it's also coming from their logistics hub. That then, regardless of where the store is and what their inventory is, it opens up inventory for those who are shopping online. So it's just one way that we're working. It's, of course, a pilot program, and Kroger has generously contributed 5,000 free memberships to pilot this program. And so we're hard at work to prove it up, because we believe it could not only be across our service area, but it can certainly be a model nationwide for how do we tackle the challenge of low access to grocery stores.
Okay. What is Alice?
Yeah, Alice is our number one client. That's her name.
Alice.
Alice. And it's also an acronym. It stands for Asset Limited, Income Constrained, and Employed. That's the lived conditions of our number one client. She's a mother, often a single mother with children, and is working many times 2 or 3 jobs because the first job doesn't pay a living wage. Alice is also a report that's done biannually by the United Way. It's called the Alice Report, and it's an online database that basically tells you by county how much you need to live and what your budget expenses are for the bare necessities. So, for instance, in Tarrant County, it measures key necessities like housing, utilities, gas, if you need technology, childcare. And then it calculates based on the cost of those expenses in Tarrant County. It says how much a person needs to make. So here in Tarrant County, an individual living by themselves has to make $15 an hour just to meet those bare necessities without putting anything into savings or tithing at the church, right? In order to have a 10% savings, they would need to make $25 an hour. Now you start thinking about Alice, right? Alice may have a child or two children. Now we're looking at $25 to $30 an hour just to be able to provide food on the table, not even considering savings account or giving to a charity, et cetera. And so this is a very real a challenge that we're facing in many counties across the country, but especially here locally, is that while wages are stagnant, cost of living is rising. And with the rapid growth, costs are going up in every one of those basic necessities. And so our number one client is a single mother. Our second client is an older adult, often on a fixed income due to retirement benefits. And same condition, those retirement benefits, the cost of living adjustments aren't increasing at the same pace as the expenses that families face. And so oftentimes we see folks like Alice who are working as hard as they can and have worked all of their life and are living in retirement and are still not able to put food on the table and keep the lights on. The one thing I'll say about this is when you think about all those basic necessities, very few of those you can cut back on. You can't cut back on your rent. You can't cut back on your utilities. You can't cut back on your gas.
Food.
You got to cut food.
Cut back on food.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now as we get ready to go to a close, the holidays are coming. What should we be doing to prepare for the holidays? I know it's September, but pretty soon we're going to start seeing Thanksgiving, and it follows just like on the calendar. It's coming.
September is the perfect time to get involved, though. September is Hunger Action Month nationwide. And it's a month not only to raise awareness about the importance of addressing hunger, it also gives tangible actions that people can take, and we have three. The first is to advocate. Congress right now has decided on a bill that affects all of the programs that I've mentioned today. It's called the Farm Bill, and Congress only passes this bill every 5 years. This bill funds things like the Emergency Food Assistance Program, the Commodity Supplemental Food Program, or Senior Box Program. It funds SNAP. And so this bill is absolutely critical to get passed and ensure that we strengthen TFAP, strengthen CSFP, and that we protect SNAP from any cuts. That's so critical to our first line of defense of hunger. The second thing folks can do is they can volunteer at the Tarrant Area Food Bank. Wednesday nights are family nights, but we have volunteer shifts not only at the Tarrant Area Food Bank at our facilities, but also at our West facility in Parker County, as well as our partner agencies all across our county. So sign up to volunteer. And the last thing is to donate or to pull together funds with your family or your community to donate to the Tarrant Area Food Bank. Because we're such a big distributor and we can source food at large quantities, a little goes a very long way. And so for just $10, we can provide 50 meals to families. If you tried to do that in the grocery store, you wouldn't get nowhere close to 50 meals. And so we encourage people, instead of trying to go out and buy a bunch of canned goods and produce on your own dime, it's better to donate it to us so that we can use our purchasing power to be able to stretch that further and to feed more families. And so September is a perfect month to get involved. September is Hunger Action Month, and it helps us to pave the way into October, November, and December, which are peak seasons for us due to the holidays.
Okay, so we have to have the ham in order to get to turkey. And
there you go. So, you got it.
Hey, I try.
Yeah.
I try. Increasing funds for produce rescue.
Yep.
What is that about?
Yeah, so the Emergency Food Assistance Program is one of the ways that we get produce. It's a federal program, and that's one of the things that we're advocating in the Farm Bill. Thankfully, in this past state legislative session, we were able to also increase state funding for rescuing produce through the Surplus Ag Grant. we were able to double the funds for the 21 food banks here in Texas. And so that also allows us to purchase food directly from Texas farmers that it's produce that they wouldn't have been able to get into the market, but it's still very high quality. And we're able to help them balance their budgets while also ensuring that we're not letting food go to waste, and ensuring that it gets on tables for individuals and families that really need that stuff.
Is there anything that we need to do to help you guys with the state and the federal level representatives that we have?
Yeah, when it comes to the state level, continuing to write your state representatives and your state senators about the importance of them focusing their efforts on addressing hunger here in our community. At the federal level, there's two ways folks can write their Congress members and their senators. In Texas, we have 2 U.S. senators, and it's so important that not only do they fund a strong farm or pass a strong farm bill this upcoming fall, but it's also important that they pass an annual budget that protects some of these programs. So all of the programs I named are funded through the annual budgeting process. And so we got to ensure that not only we authorize the programs, but that we also fund them from year to year. And so the Congress is working right now on the budget. I know it's the talk of town, not only here but also in D.C. And Congress is required to pass it by the end of September. And so there's a lot of talks about how Congress is going to come to a resolution with the White House. Needless to say, we need all of our folks listening to write our Congress members and our U.S. senators and let them know addressing hunger is a top priority for us.
All right. Appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. Always a pleasure to do this.
Thank you. Hey, Gabe, let's play that drop again. And, hey, all this talk about foods got me hungry. Hey, thank you for listening.
When's the last time someone's called you a hunger hero? Because you could be, and you don't even have to wear a cape.
This is Dr. Jared Williams, Vice President for Advocacy for the Tarrant Area Food Bank. They're looking for hunger heroes, and it's so easy to make a difference.
You can donate, volunteer, or advocate and help us put an end to hunger here in Dallas-Fort Worth. Every dollar, every moment you give helps your friends and neighbors.
Learn more at tafb.org. That's tafb.org. Become a hunger hero at tafb.org.
Hey, you know, whenever I want good Cajun food, I go to Thibodeau's, located at 107 North Cedar Ridge in Duncanville, Texas. They're really hot, just like the Commish Radio Show in Thibodeau's. Hot as this gumbo. We will see you later at Thibodeau's. Who was that masked man? You mean you don't know? That was no masked man. That was the Commish. Saturdays from 5 to 6 p.m. on the Fishbowl Radio Network.